And good afternoon from Krusty's workbench. Well, this is my second work area. This is actually up in the house, where behind me I've got a fire going in the background, and it's very warm compared to the I call it the ice box, the actual main outside workshop. It's it's very cold here today, so it's probably about 7 or 8 degrees out there at the moment, and in here it's a lovely 20 22, so it's nice and comfortable. It's a lot smaller than the bigger one, but certainly makes working on stuff in winter a bit more pleasant being up here. Yeah, look, this I'll sort of do a bit of a video on this Cromwell radio that you see in front of you here. Um, I've had this set in my possession, oh God, for probably about 20 odd years, maybe even a bit longer. Would have picked it up from one of the local radio auctions back in the day, and part of the whole emptying the garage and bringing stuff inside, I've sort of decided, well, a few of my nicer sets need to come up here too. So this was one of them. And all I've done so far is I've pulled the speaker out, I've taken the chassis out of it, and blown all the dust and crap out of it as best I can. But I haven't powered it on. But I thought that's where we'll do it, and see if we can get any life out of this thing. Yeah. So this set, it was built here in New Zealand by H.W. Clark. And it was made in 1942. So it's it's certainly no spring chicken. The cabinet's actually in really good condition. It's not too badly knocked around at all. It's really clean. There's no borer in it as far as I know. But it's been sitting in quite a it's been wrapped up in a black rubbish bag in the same storage conditions. So yeah, dampness probably hasn't helped it, but no, we'll just see what happens when we put the power on. I have pulled the chassis; it's all pretty original underneath, but I can't see anything too alarming that's not going to stop us from giving it a slow power up on the Variac. But I thought I'd show you a bit more information on it on Steve Dunford's excellent website, the New Zealand Vintage Radio Project. This is let me just move that lamp away. This is the go-to place for any New Zealand valve radio you want to know about. This is the place to go to. That's the link if you want to have a look. But so this one here is called the Cromwell Model 722 Model 722 Skipper, made in 1942. As you can kind of see, there were a few cabinet variations, and there was even a console. Oh yeah, there's even a couple of console versions as well. And there's some pictures showing the inside of it as well, and it's pretty much the same as what I've got here. In fact, what's that serial number? 33441. I wonder how close that is to the one I've got here. I'll check that out. But so, and here's a bit of original advertisement that Steve scanned. Obviously must have been out of a newspaper or back in the day. Let me see. So this is the circuit diagram. So we've got a 5Y3, a 6F6G, 6B8, 6K7, 6K8, another 6K7G. So it's got an RF stage. It's also a dual wave as well. So it should be a fairly good performer. Just a standard super hit IF, so 465 kilohertz for the IFs, and 4 dial lamps. It shows all your trimmers and padders for your mixer, oscillator, and RF. That's quite nicely laid out there. And going down, here's all the component locations and what they actually are, and the tube position layout for this. Yeah, 727. I think the 720. I think the 720 may have been a broadcast only, I think, but I think there's bugger all difference really between them. They are essentially the same thing. So, but definitely check out Steve's website. It gives, sort of might give you a bit of insight as to a bit more of a insight into how many radios were made in New Zealand, and we had quite a few. So yeah, definitely check it out at some stage. But right, so we'll go back to the actual set in question. I'll just bring that lamp round again. So we might as well start off with the speaker because it's on the floor. I'll just grab the speaker. Hang on, I'll just push that back a wee bit. I'll just so we'll start off with the speaker. Considering I pulled the speaker out, it was the first thing I pulled out. Here it is, roller. It's a EM speaker. So you've got your field coil in there, and your output transformer. 7000K primary, and yeah, the speaker's actually in really good condition. It's really clean. Don't think it. No, it's moving fairly. No, it's moving fairly. No, it's moving nice and free. It's not scraping or anything. I don't quite know what that is, but I think we'll just leave that alone. Yeah. So this was a pretty standard looking. This is pretty much a standard looking radio for New Zealand in the late 30s, early 40s. Typical sort of rectangular sort of cabinet style. But I do quite like that Art Deco kind of step with the rounded corners. Actually looks quite attractive, and that's why I grabbed it at the time. I think I only paid like $5 or $10 for it, so not a huge amount. And there we go. It's a Model K8, 2,500 ohm field coil, Roller Electric Company, Australia. So I'm guessing these were made in Australia, and then obviously imported into New Zealand at the time. So yeah, I have actually measured the field coil and output transformer, primary and secondaries, and they're both fine. So that's the speakers definitely test out okay. But of course, when we put power on and all that sort of thing, it could be a completely different story. Right, okay. So now we'll turn the cabinet around. Actually, what I'll do, I'll take the knobs off it. Yeah, I'll take the knobs off. We'll swing it around, and then I'll be able to. I'll tell you what. I'll show you the back of it, inside it first, and then I'll pull the knobs off camera and all that. And yeah, we'll do it the arse about face way. So here's a look at the cabinet construction and the chassis itself. I also removed the power cord too, because the power cord was literally, it was all the rubber insulation was all crumbling away. Definitely not an ideal thing for putting power on. But interesting, it's got a metal tube 5Y3, 6F6, 6B8, 6K8, 6K7, and 6K8 I think is in there. So. But yeah, it's as you can see, there's a fair bit of surface corrosion on it. I can't remember whether that was like it when I got it or whether it's due to where it's sat. I think from memory it was a little bit like that. Oh, now the serial number. What's that say? 33207. What was the other one? 333 So, so these are actually about a couple of hundred apart to each other. Far out. So these would have come off the same production line, probably. Yeah, these would have come off this. These would have come off the production line quite close together. So that's hard case. Ha! What a dag. All right. Well, look, what I'll do, I'll pause the camera and I'll get the chassis out, and we'll continue from there. Back in a tick. Okay, I pulled the chassis out of the cabinet so you can get a real good look at what we've got here. So as you said, a bit of surface corrosion over everything, but that's not too bad. I've put it this way, I've seen a hell of a lot worse. Yeah, so it'd be 6K7, 6K8, 6K7, 6B8, 6F6, and 5Z3. At least the dial cord isn't broken, which is good. It's always makes a pleasant makes a pleasant change from dealing with broken dial cords, as you all know how frustrating they can be. And this one doesn't look too complicated, and the actual string looks to be fairly good. So let's not aggravate it anymore. Let's not poke at it, because then it might go ping, and then there'll be a whole lot of swearing, preferably off camera. But yeah, quite like that too. That's quite like that cool Kenrad valves. Does it say? Say this. Trying to say what it say. This set is equipped with Kenrad valves for maximum service and most satisfaction. Insist on Kenrad for replacements. That's pretty cool. I quite like that. Yeah, manufactured by H.W. Clark, Wellington, model 722. Just spinning around and have a look at the front. I didn't actually give a close-up look of the dial, did I, earlier? No. That's a fair bit. Actually, it's quite a bit. Oh, that's actually quite dusty, the glass. Let's look at this dust on and down in there too. I'll have to take that off and clean it at some point. Definitely might be that there's a bit of glass, another piece of glass in behind there, and yeah, that looks like it's looks like silkscreen printing on the other bit of glass. So we definitely won't be giving that a clean with any type of solvent, because it'll no doubt get rid of it. But yeah, the tuning actually feels nice and free. I think that's wave change, and that'll be either tone or volume. Generally, our sets I think it's normally on off. It's on off and tone, so power and tone. That'd be probably volume, and yeah. So yeah, all right. Well, I mean, as I said, this is a pretty typical standard set that was made here in the 40s, late 30s, early 40s here in New Zealand. This is pretty standard. Nothing too dissimilar from any other set probably made in the world. Not sure how closely we actually followed Australia in regards to radio production and manufacturing and methods of design and things, but yeah, I guess we can't. You know, we can't go and ask the people who work for the company, because they're all been pushing daisies probably now for decades. What I might do, I might just pause the camera and I'll flip this chassis over and get a look underneath. And here is the underside of the chassis. As you can see, looking at it, it's I don't know, it's had a few little repairs done, but God, I don't honestly, looking at this thing, this thing has had power on it in decades, to be honest. I mean, you know, these look like replacements. That's probably the main 8 mic off the anode of the 5Y3. That'll be the first filter cap in line with the HT, and it's probably the secondary one that's after the field coil, I'm guessing. It's probably cathode bypass, I'm guessing, something like that. But yeah, I mean, that resistor there looks, yeah, that's been changed at some point. It's a Japanese style resistor that's been replaced. It's had some work done on it, but God, it was probably done decades ago. So yeah, I mean, if those filter caps aren't shorted or there ain't anything majorly wrong with it in the electronics, I can't see any reason why it shouldn't work, to be honest. I mean, well, you know, one shouldn't really assume these things, because one's been wrong on the past, but it's it's all fairly clean and tidy under there. And again, this is sort of the typical construction of the radios of the time. Oh yeah, it's okay. Okay. That's probably the it's probably the grid. Oh yeah, that'll be the grid. That'll be the anode to grid coupling from the detector tube to the output tube, and yeah, it's probably a 0.01. Yeah, of course they always go leaky, so that's probably what that is. At a guess. Oh yeah, one of those Japanese resistors down there too. In fact, if you go through one of my earlier videos, I had a trio valve amplifier. We had one of these exact same resistors, a 22K, that went noisy in the negative feedback from the output transformer, and it took me bloody ages to find the problem, because it would only do it when it only do it when the after the amp had been running for about half an hour, and it would come and go, and it was so in a minute. I was changing this and changing that, and you kind of found it quite by accident. Just used a bit of heat and freeze around various components, and in the circuit I went, yeah. Then if you look up, go back through some of my old videos, it's definitely there. But that was a complete pain in the ass to find. But you know, and yeah, it's not often the resistor would introduce noise. It would actually, you'd heat it up with a heat gun, and it would start causing popping and crackling in the speakers, like far in that channel. It was like, my God. So hopefully these ones are all right. But I'm going to go through and change all the caps, measure all the resistors, change any ones that are out, do the usual sort of thing. And you know, it's my own radio, so I won't go too overboard. But yeah, I'll just make it so that it's reliable and won't catch fire on us. Yeah, so she's curious as to, I'm not quite sure how I'll be quite keen to run my meter around a few of those resistors. But I suppose if I get the camera, try and get the camera set up or something, and see if I can get some power on the thing and see what it does. I might measure some of the resistors and see how far out they probably are all okay. So yeah, but that's a look underneath the chassis. I mean, it looks like these have been out. Maybe someone's pulled them out and tested them at some point. That's probably an HT B plus dropper too. Probably the IF section or something like that, the RF stage, something like that. That's probably gone high. These are fine. These dial ground resistors don't seem to hold their value. They seem to drift a bit in value. Yeah, so they could be okay, but yeah, all right. Well, I'll just pause the video again, and I'll get myself set up and to some degree, and see. We'll put some power on the thing, and we'll of course put the power on rather slowly, and we'll see what it does. So back in a sec.